We are back. Second episode. We've got a new event coming up with Kansas City Wide Open that starts this Friday. We're going to rewind a little bit and talk about how really well we all did in the standings. So we'll go hold my bag first. Jer, get in the burrito.
Yes, sir.
492nd place.
Pretty good.
There's about 3,000 entries. I got second between the group of us at 644th. Aaron, 1641. Sam in the bottom 3% with 2744. But that's an improvement.
Yeah, I did get dead last the first time around in the beta. So, going up.
This was a weird one, too, because some people's scores only had 2 rounds and not 3.
A lot of
so
mine did.
the scoring was...
I do wonder how people are going to change how they pick their team because of that, maybe not knowing that that's actually what happened. But
I don't know
how much it changes. But
well, I guess what you can do, obviously this one was weather, so it's hard to predict that one.
Yeah.
I guess it's going to be bad weather this weekend, though. Spoiler alert.
Yep.
But for tournaments that have cuts, do you potentially take out risky players? Although you're choosing from tiers for Hold My Bag, so
It's hard
I
to
think
do
it's
that.
impossible.
Yeah.
Can't really do it.
good.
So,
That's less I got to
yeah.
focus on.
Roll of the dice. I'm not
let's
good at
give a
that, though.
shout out to the top 3 players, though, who actually take home OTB gift cards
Yep.
from Hold My Bag. Big Nug 71 taking the first place. Gannon Burr, Simon Lazat, Andrew Marweed, Austin Turner, and Shilas Schultz.
Nailed it.
And shout out to Joshy Boy 2006 on YouTube, says he had the winning team and because of our podcast changed his answer and ended up not winning. So
You're welcome.
shout out to you.
We're here for you.
And I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Maybe next
Yeah.
week we'll get you to that dub. So
He switched Austin
in
Turner
second-
to
Yeah.
Hubenheimer.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So not a big drop off, but kind of a drop off.
Enough. Yeah.
Pretty big.
In
Dang.
second place was Mr. Pringles with Gannon Burr, Evan Smith, Marweed, Sullivan Tipton, and Silas Schultz. And then in third place was Hount with Nicholas Antela, Simon Lazat, Ezra Aderhold, Austin Turner, and Paul Cran. So a little different. I was surprised to see that there actually was some separation in the point system. I thought there'd be a lot more ties, but
It seemed like Silas Schultz was a separator there.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah,
Great
and-
names, too.
Mm-hmm.
Big Nug, Mr. Pringles.
Mm-hmm.
Out. Let's go. Congrats, everybody. They already have their OTB gift cards. And if
Nice.
you want one, then sign up for the free game. HoldMyBagDG.com. This is not a paid advertisement. We just enjoy this.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep doing it. Obviously, the payouts are through us, so that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's jump into Kansas City Wide Open. I guess one more note is Hold My Bag has the leagues now where you can create your own league. Biggest thing, while it's still all free before it's paid, is this kind of just helps you keep you organized.
Mhm.
If you want to join our league, we have to send out an invite. So just shoot us a message with your email, leave a comment. But I think the more interesting part is you can make a league with just you and your friends
Yeah.
and keep track of the paid. A lot more simple than looking at the giant leaderboard. And then once it gets to the paid version, I think you're going to be able to have your own little side games, which is going to be dope.
Nice.
Pretty sweet.
Sweet. So getting in the Kansas City Wide Open, let's see how we do here. I have my own team here picked out, but let's go through the first level of players here. You got Hammis, Barella, Heimberg, Ezra Robinson, Gannon Burr, Isaac Robinson, Kyle Klein, Paul Macbeth, and Richard Wysocki.
Nice. So I felt like it wasn't the fullest field, but that's a lot of names.
Yep.
Like I guess
Mhm.
Niklas isn't there,
The
right?
middle of the pack seems gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
What it-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Got it. So Aaron, start with you. Who kind of stands out as you're looking through these tier 1 players?
The player that has the number 1 birdie percentage in the whole thing still, Gannon Burr.
Dang.
Yeah, I switched my little game theory tactics as well. I went Gannon Burr because I just looked at his previous events and man, he's top of the leaderboard
He's good.
on the
He's
pro sort
consistent.
standings. And
Yeah.
Consistently there.
I think Gannon's good. I'm still going to ride the hot hand of what's been playing well this year, and last week did well for me in Paul Macbeth. I think he's
Literally
going to
just
come
said-
across a win. So we're gonna come across it. I feel it. It's coming.
He got him by a stick at MCO.
To be fair,
he was playing for the win, so I don't
Yeah.
really know how
That's
that
fair.
ended up.
Yeah,
but
to be
last
fair,
2
Paul
or 3
Macbeth
holes.
is second in birdie percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
last 2 to 3 holes for Paul were kind of dirty. I think
Yeah,
he realized he wasn't
man.
going to win, and he, in Paul fashion, just kind of went tilt.
Yep.
Yeah,
What about you, Danny?
full go. I've got Gannon. It's it is what it is at this point.
Yep.
You've got to ride that consistency. It's splitting hairs with a lot of these tier 1 players. I'm curious who I was looking at this earlier, and it almost feels dirty too because you're throwing great players under the bus. But like, who is the least picked one in this? Because they're all studs.
They had it last week for who was the least picked.
Yeah, it is. It is public.
I don't remember what it was though.
Yeah, it is public after anyway.
I'd probably say Robinson brothers or Kyle Klein, maybe.
That was
And
my
that's
thought.
more of like a how
Name.
popular you are, honestly. I don't know. That's a really hard choice. They're all really good players that are at the top.
It is tough. Robinson brothers are so good.
I feel like it should be much easier to pick either of them in
Yeah.
any given week.
Yeah.
But it's rare that they come to the top of my mind.
Yeah, it was. I was most tempted to go with AB after Gannon,
Mhm.
but we can lock in Gannon
Sure. Yeah,
with
Gannon
3 of
for,
us having picked it.
Yeah, Gannon for the OTB team here.
Who we got tier 2, Jared?
Tier 2, Aaron Gossage, Andrew Marweed, Andrew Presnell, Chris Dickerson, Eagle Wayne McMahon, Joey Buckets, and Matthew Oram.
Is that Wayne?
Eagle. Oh, it is. Yeah, Eagle Wayne McMahon. Sorry.
Changed his name.
I went with Marweed. We were kind of talking about this earlier. I think the dude's on a heater, but he's like the quietest person to do it. You just don't. He doesn't have the flashiest game, but he makes a ton of putts.
Can you look up how many points he scored last week though, and like, because you can look at points.
So he was on my team. Let me
Yeah.
go back to that.
That's an interesting point. In this tier, I went Dickerson. Just felt like it was the best value there as someone who's ranked still in the 1040s. But tier 2, he stood out to me.
Marweed got 101 points.
It's a pretty good amount.
He got 5th place, 24 birdies, 24 pars, 6 bogeys, 2 3-birdie streaks. He actually got the most on my team. Actually, no, that's not true. Paul Macbeth did, but
Yeah,
second
but
most
not
on my
by a
team.
ton. Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like he is someone that is hot right now, and based on his stats, if you think his putting is going to stay as hot as it is,
Yeah.
because it's basically the hottest ever.
I'm willing to bet on that putt for,
Yeah, but
for my
it's-
life.
I think there's going to be some regression back to the mean. He set the record last year at 93.1% putting circle 1X, and right now he's at 95.5. And it's 4% better than everybody else, but he's also not driving great.
It's been so
He's-
windy in these
he's in-
tournaments.
he's
too.
in-
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's
He's
impressive.
an 89th on fairway hits.
That's
to place.
wild, man.
Yeah.
He's scrambling pretty good.
His
Yeah.
23rd in scrambling. Not
Okay.
big. It's
Not too bad.
that's okay.
Not terrible, but not.
But
Just
it's
get me near the basket.
95.57% in circle 1.
Yeah.
And 30% from circle 2, which is 12th. So it's good, but not.
Yeah.
And kind of going back to that tier 1 where you're kind of picking the worst. I think there's like 3 players that kind of stick out, and the other 3 or 4 I'm not really looking at. I'm looking at Eagle, Dickerson, and Marweed. Other than that, I feel like the other 4 players are kind of maybe could be next tier, and it'd still be a questionable if I pick them or not.
Yeah. I think Aaron Gossage is right there too. though.
Gossage, okay.
Yeah. He's birdieing a ton right now.
I do like that we have a little more stats this week than the first
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Every-
Good work, boys.
Every week it is going to be a little bit
Yeah.
more specific on the stats, though.
Yeah.
That is nice.
For sure.
So-
I picked Gossage personally.
Okay.
Nice.
I went Marweed as well. I mean, he's 15th in tour standings right now, and compared to the last couple of times, I'm gonna actually do a little research, look at those, and I'm gonna go heavy on recency bias.
Yeah.
It's not going to get worse, Sam. Your choice.
It's not, but I'm changing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, if you want different results, you have
Yeah.
to, do that whole story.
I play a little bit of recency bias, but not. Mine's more like less about where you finish and more about the stats, like I think, and the peripheral stats. And I don't know. It's hard for me to pick someone where birdies matter so much when you don't find the
Yeah.
fairway very often.
True.
So that's why I'm against
For sure.
Marweed.
So Team OTB, it looks like we're going Marweed with 3 out of the 4 there.
2. I went
Oh,
Dickerson.
Dickerson.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, 2 out of 4. Okay. Sounds good. Still Marweed. Tier 3. A bigger group to choose from here. Austin Turner, who had a good week last week. Bradley Williams, Casey White, Cole Redolin, Corey Ellis, Emerson Keith, Ezra Aderold, Gavin Babcock, Gavin Rathbun, Joel Freeman, Luke Taylor, Mason Ford, Bino Makala.
One last point on the previous tier is it's interesting the difference between Hold My Bag and SkipAce here is that Dickerson 14 rating points higher than Marweed. Yet we settled on Marweed.
Yeah.
So that's an
Mhm.
interesting one.
Let's go with go ahead, Sam. What
Yeah,
do you
so
pick here?
I again following the trend of actually looking at stats and going heavy on recency bias, I thought it was an easy pick with Austin Turner.
Oh.
He's 10th in the tour points right now. He just came off of just almost breaking through and winning a big tournament for the first time in a long time. He's won one.
I don't know if he
Big
has
event.
a dub. He's been in the mix a lot.
He
I don't know if he
was.
has a Pro Tour
No,
NT
no
dub.
way.
I don't
Yeah,
think
no
so.
one's-
He was in the mix like I felt like 10 years ago, and then all of a sudden he's back.
They
And I
did
love to see
allude
it.
to that in the coverage
Mhm.
that he was like the hot young player and signed like a contract with Discraft. They were referencing Bob Julio and saying that, you know, the like hype or whatever got to him. And now it's like, it still feels like he's young.
Yeah.
And back to, you know, right in the spotlight and holding up to it too.
Yep.
So I went with Vino, kind of in the same thing. I feel like he's one of the hotter players right now as well, playing well last week at the Eagles Crossing and just kind of having
Okay.
a decent year.
He let me down big time at Music City.
He did let us
He did.
down.
Yeah, he did not.
Okay.
He was the anchor.
Dropped the ball hard.
Okay, well, he had a bounce back week on a harder course anyway, so I don't know if that plays into it for you, but I picked Vino this week. Austin Turner, I think he's a great player. I think he had a great week. It's still hard for me to go to him.
I was between two people, and it was Austin Turner and Emerson Keith. Emerson's been birdieing a crap ton, but
Yeah.
he can't putt. So there's a lot of pars mixed in there
Yeah.
too.
Dang,
So he's like 60 something in putting, but like way up there
Yeah.
in fairway hits in circle one
Okay.
in regulation. So yeah, like in the top 15 in all of those categories.
Mm-hmm. What do we know about the KC Wide Open course? Because last year was a Q series.
It's some wooded and a little bit of elevation
And water.
and
a lot of
water. Yeah, water.
Nice. I went Austin Turner for exact same reasons Sam did.
Yeah.
Is it just feels like he is the cheat code almost for tier 3 and that he should be above that. We did find out, I don't know how public it was, but the way that they do their rankings and their tiers is from the Statmando World Rankings because they update every single week. So those names will change a little bit. So the rankings 1 through 10 in the Statmando rankings is tier 1, etc. It's got it all listed out, but it is tied into Statmando.
They obviously locked that in, I guess, when they opened the picks.
Yeah, which is
Makes
fine.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to.
Alrighty, so we're gonna lock in Austin Turner there in tier 3
Yep.
for our OTB
For
team.
the record, I took Emerson, but I was picking between those two.
Okay.
For
So,
sure.
Yeah.
And then tier 4, working into some more players again. Alden Harris, Benjamin Callaway, GT Hancock, Garrett Gerthy, Greg Barsby, Jake Hebenheimer, Jake Mon, Jesse Niemanen, Kevin Jones, Luke Humphreys, Parker Welk, Paul Kranz, Robert Burridge, Sullivan Tipton.
I'll start on this one. I took Kev. Just feels like he's been playing pretty well. He was the name that stood out to me. I'm going based on feel this week, and that's what I'm feeling.
I'm going Kev. It was visually first. It was Kev. Second, it was between him and Parker Welk. We're pretty close. And
Nice.
so Kev to me.
I was also looking at Kev. I went with Jake Mon personally. But I went
Nice.
back and forth between the two. Jake Mon, again, 22nd in Tour Series points. KJ's in 25th. So I think either
Oh,
one.
yeah, they're close.
Either one.
Yeah.
But I'm trying a new theory here.
Nice.
Jake Mon was almost in my SkipAce lineup.
Mhm.
Really, really close. Played well last year.
Good start to the season.
If
Yeah.
you look at last year's scores for this, I know it was a Q series, not a huge field. Drew Gibson took it down, but GT Hancock got second. Jake Hebenheimer got third. You got some Freddie Meza in there, Parker Welk, Silas Schultz, Kevin Kiefer. You had some names that we're looking at here kind of in these tiers that did well at this tournament last year.
Yep.
Personally, I went Kevin Jones, though, because he is kind of on a heater. But seeing GT kind of play well there, Hebenheimer kind of play well there, Jake Montu was kind of in the mix. Those are good options, but I will stick with Kevin Jones here.
Plus, we've seen Kev slip and fall down in ace, so he can play in these slippery conditions.
Yeah,
This is true.
True.
It's supposed to be thunderstorm Sunday, so tournament might get cut short again.
Yeah. Adjust that into your lineups. How? We're not sure.
Yeah.
Yep, don't know.
Just don't forget to not do it.
Figure out which people are wearing the best shoes, and then play them.
Are
And,
Bessie's good?
I don't know. I'm not
Paul-
sure.
Yeah.
Paul's, I'll call them boots that he was wearing.
He's wearing
Bessie.
Bessie.
the Bessies, yeah.
I know they were. And man, they looked clunky.
Hmm.
But I mean, I gotta imagine they're good.
Yeah.
I can't.
Hey, they're
think-
free, baby.
They're free.
Not just free, paid to
No,
wear. 'em.
He's getting paid to wear
Oh,
them.
for
so.
him. Yeah, but I mean,
No, Bessie's
I don't think he'd
real-
wear a bad product.
I don't think he would.
I think most of these people would wear anything and try it
Not
out.
talking about most of these people.
I think I'm not saying he'd wear a. I think he could get caught into buying into a product that's not great because they look fun. I think most of them look pretty good,
Sure.
and but I've heard mixed reviews on
Hmm.
all the other things. Some people love them, some people don't.
Yeah.
look
hey,
odd.
that's shoes.
But anyway,
They have a very tight top part.
they look like
Yeah.
socks at the top.
Yeah.
That's how they waterproof it.
Alrighty. So Kevin Jones there for Team OTB, working into tier 5, the biggest tier of them all, kind of the separator between all of these. Albert Tom, Braden Sides, Kel LaVisca, Calvin Longquist, Chandler Kramer, Chris Clemens, Connor Rock, Eric Oakley, Evan Scott, Freddie Meza, Harry Chase, James Conrad, Jeremy Coling, Micah Groff, Nathan Queen, Nico LaCastro, Paul Ulibarri, Raven Newsom, Silas Schultz, Timu Lampinen, Timu Tapkanen, Ty Love, and Zach Nash.
Good save there. I saw you click out of it and you went back in. Barely skipped a beat. Shout out Jer on that one.
I went with Silas. So like we were talking, he's been kind of the savior for people here. You could go with almost anyone. They're all really close. Like who's your favorite player here in tier 5? But with Silas been playing well and played well at this event last year, I think he's a good choice.
Yep. Alluding to what Jer said, I think he was a good separator for people last week. And so he made my squad as well.
I took Nico again.
All right. Nico's been playing well too as
Yeah.
well.
And he has that kind of volatile profile that I think plays well in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went Nico as well. He got 19th last week, 17th or 45th last week, so 19th. But
Yeah. We went with him for our group lineup last
we
week.
did.
And he didn't do
Him and
great.
Vino were the ones
Yeah.
that did the worst, I guess, out of the bunch.
They're also the two that didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
So
That doesn't help.
Silas has been doing better recently though, so maybe.
So we have a 2-2 tie.
Did Silas play go throw? I know Nico did. They showed him on some of the coverage.
Nico
throwing
got
some
15th.
sweet shots.
And Silas did not play.
Oh yeah, it was just a 32
Yeah.
invite
Nico got
yeah.
15th.
invitational last week.
Shot +5, which it sounds bad, but only 7 people shot under par. So
Yeah.
most of the people were the shot crazy under par second day when
Yeah.
the conditions were worse.
hmm
No, big reason why Nico's so high is he did tie for 3rd at Waco.
mhm.
And Silas since then has been ripping comparatively.
So do you want to change your answer?
Yes.
Okay, we're rocking Silas.
There it is.
But
That helps make it easy.
I think I have a little bit of things where this just feels like sometimes when you ride the hot hand, you ride it for too long. And I'm a person that would rather jump off early
Sure.
than
Well, I feel like that's a decent argument for Nico. Maybe he's due. You know, he's had two events that weren't great by his standards, I'm sure.
yeah. And then Silas is
He's
a
not
very
wrong.
unknown commodity in disc golf.
Sure.
Yeah.
Only 3 rating points apart currently.
Yeah.
1020 Silas, 1023 Nico.
I just think this bottom range is like such a range where the person you pick can finish so all over the place.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out this week and weeks going forward.
Yeah.
So that'll
Thanks.
close out our lineup. We've got Gannon Burr, we've got Andrew Marweed, we've got Austin Turner, Kevin Jones, and Silas Schultz.
Yeah, I think that's going to do all right. I don't think
It's
you can lose
the
with that lineup.
bar is set at 1938 out of about 3,000. So if we can just make top half,
So if you listened to us last week,
yeah.
sorry.
This is the week.
If you have any of these people in your lineup, think about changing it. We
I
might
am.
be cursed.
I did beat who? Yeah, did anyone beat both scores from
Well, did anyone? I did not.
like because we all picked teams together.
I don't know
Those
how
had
the
a two score.
SkipAce one ended in our league.
So it's got an 801. That's 801 points, which is not very good because I got 870 points.
I got 1,000.
And I wasn't
I got
very good.
1,125.
I didn't do good.
How many points did you get?
Hold on.
I got 7th this last week.
Yeah, Jared did the best. Jared did
I've been
Anything-
doing pretty good on
Jared
the
definitely
SkipAce.
beat both.
anything.
easily.
Yeah, anything above 1,000 plus is pretty good
Yeah.
normally.
I'm sitting in the top 10, feeling pretty good about this year.
I got 60th last week.
I did, surprisingly, not
Yeah,
surprisingly,
same-ish.
not surprisingly, actually, I did good in Texas on the Texas swing.
Cheated. You were
That-
there.
yeah, that insider info.
Alrighty. Moving into the SkipAce picks here. Again, little different rules that we went over last week. You can check back on that to check those out. But let's see what we're rocking with here. These are a little different. This is based off rating points and how much rating points you have left. What did we do last week? Each of us kind of picked one person, right?
No, we,
Or
just
what
kinda
did we
went- we talked about what how we attacked it, and then
Okay.
we sort of just
That's
attacked
right.
it from the bottom.
That's right.
Yeah, we went through it similarly.
And that's exactly what I did again this week.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's kind of go over our lowest pick. I think did everyone stick with Connor
I stuck with
O'Reilly?
Connor,
He's
yeah.
my guy.
I swapped to
At
him.
1,006 and rising, it was 1,005 last
Yep.
update. So he's rising slowly. You're getting that extra 10 points there.
Yep.
He's getting birdies, kind of limiting his bogeys. Obviously, he might want to play a little better, but I think he's doing well for what this calls for here.
Yep.
Agreed.
I'm fine with Rockin' Connor. He's not in my lineup. I think the lowest rated MPO I had in mind was Gavin Phillips, right?
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's playing well as well.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
yeah.
a good
It was
sleeper
like
pick.
1019.
Okay.
So dropped him in.
I wanted to put him on my tier 5, but he wasn't on there on Hold My Bag. There's a bunch. Actually,
Interesting.
there are 2 people other than Gavin Phillips that I have in this lineup that weren't on that lineup at
Yeah.
all.
Hmm.
And they're 2 of my better players. So
where did you guys go from here? Did you
I
shoot to
started
the
with
women?
the girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I went with Missy and Valerie. How are you guys feeling about those?
Yeah, I feel fine about both. I just
Okay.
want to get 2 in that like 970-ish range,
Okay.
960, 970, right in there. And I went with Ella and Rebecca.
Nice.
Okay, yeah. I think I kind of had that and kind of
Yeah.
chose to go like opposite with it,
Yep.
and spread it out a little more. But I do like those calls as well.
I almost chose Missy though. She's 980, I think, but I almost chose Missy.
So many points,
Yeah.
and she will do well as a thing.
Yeah.
Like, she's
she's
such
super
a,
consistent.
she's a
Yeah.
top 5 finisher
Most of
at
the
any
time.
time.
Yeah. Feels like it. Feels like a lock. I went with Rebecca Cox, and then I went with Lisa Fakis,
Okay.
who played well there last year.
Okay.
Obviously, just a Q Series event, not the same competition, but felt like really good value. That being said, I'm happy with Missy, Ella, Rebecca, any of those combos.
Yeah. I ended up going Rebecca Cox and Alexis Mandahanu.
Nice. So
All
let's
right.
lock in
So we
Rebecca,
got Rebecca there, yeah, for sure.
and we'll lock in Connor.
Yep.
And let's knock out another MPO or 2, and we'll go back in. Or I guess how far apart are Missy, Ella, and the Mondahano sisters?
So Missy's at 980, Ella is at 974. So you got 6 points to kind of mess with there. Monduhana sisters are Alexis at 951, Valerie at 961. So you got kind of 10 more points to play with there.
Okay.
I went with the higher ladies, I guess, and then you guys were going with the lower ladies.
I mean, Ella at 964 is not really that. Or
Not low.
974,
974, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's a
That's
high
a premium pick. Yeah.
right? Yep.
and like when you're picking Ella, you pretty much have accepted you're gonna have 2 MPO that are like 920 and under, right?
Not
Or
920.
No, because Connor's
1020,
1006.
1020 under.
Mhm.
My other 3 are all right around 1025 and 1030.
Do you
Yeah, and so
have
no,
no
like
1040?
yeah, yeah.
No, I
what do
never
you
Neither do
have?
I.
Okay,
This one.
so
I almost never have a 1040 player.
this week
Mhm.
I don't either. My highest rated player is Marweed because the same reasons we talked about earlier. But
Yeah.
he's my highest rated player this week, and kind of hoping to get lucky with him.
So I'm pretty sure
Overplaying
all
in value.
3 of my players are within like 6. My other players left are within like 6 points of each
Hmm.
other.
Mine
Mhm.
too, actually.
Yeah, it's Sullivan, Tipton, Evan, Scott, and Eagle.
Nice. We have very different ones too.
Yeah, I think we all have kind of different
Yeah,
lineups. This
I
is
went.
nice.
I'll just roll through mine.
Yeah.
We can all do the same. I went Casey White, Andrew Marweed, Ezra Aderhold, Gavin Phillips for the MPO side.
That's pretty good.
I went Marweed, Vino, Connor O'Reilly, GT Hancock.
I got Paul Macbeth, Matty O, Ezra Aderhold, and Connor O'Reilly. So I went heavy.
Yeah,
on
I'm
the
super
high
out on
MPO.
Ezra.
That's all right.
Yeah,
So let's go. I think let's test out Marweed, Connor O'Reilly, Missy Gannon, and kind of see what
Okay.
we're thinking next after that. I'm trying to think of the names that came up multiple times that we were confident in.
Yeah, for sure. Those 3 work. So you're looking at 2 more MPO. I got Vino, GT, and Valerie. We could kind of go down to Alexis instead of Valerie, gain an extra 10 points there if we wanted to.
I thought we were putting Missy in there.
Yeah, Missy.
Missy
For
is
sure.
in
But
Rebecca.
who's the other one?
Rebecca Cox. We already said that.
Yeah, let's test that one out.
Okay.
Yeah,
we
we said
want
put
Missy for sure then. Okay.
So let's rock Missy and Rebecca. We've got Connor in and Marweed in, and let's see how many points we've got left. We can do kind of an average of the 2 or see how far we want to skew
So
apart from
Missy,
these.
Rebecca, Marweed, and Connor O'Reilly. With 2 left, we have 2,044. So it's still either a really, really solid player or spreading it out a little bit. There's still a lot to work with for sure.
Aaron, who's your favorite pick out of your 4 guys?
Sullivan, Tipton.
Yeah.
He's been
Yeah.
playing well.
Super high birdie. Evan Smith has a really, like, they're both birdieing a ton right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like they are playing above their rating.
Yeah. What's Evan Smith at, Jared? Because it's what, 1030 I saw for Sullivan?
Evan Scott, not Evan Smith.
Okay.
Evan Smith, though, too.
Both the Evans playing
Evan
well.
Scott at 1021.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sullivan Tipton's at 1030
Mm-hmm.
is what it is.
Yeah. And Evan Smith, I think, was the one who finished
Yeah.
higher at MCO.
Yep.
So what's Evan Smith's rating, Jared? I think up makes sense. If he's playing.
He might not be playing.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
there's a good chance that he's not.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing.
I like the Sully pick personally. I think he's playing great. And
It's always interesting. Like there are so many like good 10-30 rated players now
Mhm.
that you're looking between an Eagle,
Joey Buckets.
Sullivan Tipton, Joey Buckets. Like there are
Yeah.
so many in that range. Luke Taylor, Vino,
Man, I
Una,
think I want to
Casey.
go with like an Eagle at that 1030. They're both rated the same, and that's insane to me.
Yeah. I mean,
But-
I have Eagle in my lineup. So, like,
Okay.
yeah,
But you like Sullivan Tipton more.
I do.
God, I just changed my lineup around so much.
It's really tough.
I'm in that spot right.
Y'all make some good
You got to
points.
almost look past the
Damn.
names and actually like.
I'm in the spot right now where I'm kind of doing both what you guys are doing, which is recency bias, which
Yeah.
is Sullivan
Yeah,
Tipton.
yeah.
But I'm also playing that like that ain't gonna last forever, and Eagle McMahon is
Sure.
still Eagle McMahon,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and he's still coming back from things.
Well, and
Look
it's
at-
just always so interesting, like dropping 5 points somewhere. Where can you get to now that you have those 5 points?
Well, that's the thing. Right now, we can average 1022. So if we give up 8 points, going up to 1030, then we've got to drop down to
So
1014.
10-14.
Mm-hmm.
Which puts us in the AJ Carey, Wyatt Mahoney, Calvin Lundquist, Andrew Fish, Luke Sampson, Carter Aarons.
That's such a roll of the dice because any of them could probably get top 30.
I kind of like the
But-
GT Hancock play, having played well there last year.
Yeah.
That one stands out a little bit.
Yeah.
It's tough pickings in the sub 1020 range. You
This
know,
is
you've
sorta
got to
why
find someone you love.
I dropped the 6 points and took Ella instead of Missy.
Yeah.
Just because 6 points from 1014 to 1020 gets you a little bit
How-
better
how m-
quality of player.
How much more do you like Sullivan Tipton over like a Hebenheimer where I can grab 4 more points and work my
Decent
way
amount.
up?
Sorry, Jake. Love you.
Yeah.
Okay. It allows us to get the GT Hancock in there if we wanted to go that
What I would
route.
do is I would go Missy to Ella. I don't think there's that big of a drop, but 6 points in rating.
Okay.
is-
Mm-hmm. Money well spent.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, not sold on GT Hancock either, though. So
Yeah, and I would go Eagle over Sully.
I would too.
Yeah.
that's fine.
Let's rock Eagle. Yeah. Okay. Missy to Ella.
Eagle over Solely.
So now we're looking Eric Oakley, Silas Schultz, Linus, Zach Nash, Jeremy Colling, GT Hancock.
I almost put Zach Nash in my lineup.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm kinda
Silas
looking
is in
GT or
ours.
Silas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can either. Here's an interesting one too. How much do you want your lineups to differ?
I don't know.
I mean, this is more for our.
Hot hands, hot hands.
Yeah.
Mhm,
The scoring's fairly similar.
mhm.
I don't know.
We're all going to pick our own lineups anyway. but-
Yeah, no doubt. For this one, let's lock in. Let's go Zach Nash.
All right. Sure. Zach Nash. That leaves us with 0 points.
I like that.
So you got Marweed, Eagle Wayne McMahon,
Wayne. Huh?
Bro.
Connor O'Reilly, Zach Nash, Ella Hansen, and Rebecca Cox to round out the 6-person team for the OTB boys.
Nice.
Sweet. Yeah, join our SkipAce. We're gonna have the leagues is brand new to Hold My Bag, so we'll be messing around a little bit more with that.
Yeah.
Maybe have a fun invite into that and have some extra prizes. But this is something that we're diving into more and more this year. It's exciting to see, and come follow. Don't follow our picks. No, wait till we
very
have one
wary.
good week.
Yeah.
You
Be
know,
very wary.
get some recency bias with us too. You got to make sure we pick a good picker too until you follow it. But
Yep.
sweet. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. And we're looking forward to watching Kansas City Wide Open this weekend. Hopefully the weather holds up a little bit better than it is forecasted for.
Yep. Let's hope so.
Come on, disc golf gods.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty. Later, y'all.
Later.